Okay. Mithali, would you go over that again?
Yeah, so Socratic dialogue is really magical in terms of how so much wide variety of questions come in there and how we broaden our perspectives from there.
Yeah. Thank you, Mithali.
Actually, to add to Mithali, yeah, I found out that even when you think that you have covered all the concepts in building a product, there is always room for development. I mean, you evolve means through the Socratic dialogue, you are doing an evolution for your product.
Thank you, Shanas. Who's going next?
In case of Socratic dialogues, eventually everybody thinks like UX, and it's that powerful that though positioning determines your operations, UX keeps in check of those positioning. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Aryan. That's a very nice cross-functional perspective. Who's going next?
So, this is my last Socratic dialogue reflection. I just said that it's all about fundamentals. And this week, I realized that it's definitely all about fundamentals because when we were preparing, Mohit told that Shagun, you are telling effortless, then you changing it to comfortable and all. Don't change it. We stick with the effortless. But still, while answering those questions, that our positioning changed into that customizable, and we got into trap. So it's important that we stick with our fundamentals.
Good to get trapped, no? Learn. Yeah. Thank you, Shagun.
Yes.
Who's going next?
When you think that your product is really good and you come to Socratic dialogue, you know that there is always scope for improvement.
Okay. Exactly. That's why we say, na, kabhi aa jao haveli pe. So who's going next?
I feel this Socratic dialogue brought a lot of perspectives and many new ideas to work upon. Yes.
Okay. I see a lot of women in high spirits. That's a beautiful problem that all of you brought up for discussion today. And I think your topic was just an advertisement for the Socratic dialogue method of learning. Yeah. Who's going next?
I think I had the most fun today with Socratic dialogue because it was more of a Socratic roast with Yusha in the meeting room. So yeah, we tackled a lot of problems, and we also brought up a new model of Socratic dialogue thread building. So I didn't thread build on the thread builder today, but then we had a lot of thread building on the chat itself.
Oh, we're creating a new thread builder. So
Yeah.
we're creating a Sherlock Holmes version of thread builder. So probably we'll involve you in the project. Yeah.
All right.
Who's going next?
Involve me also.
You go on, Yusha.
No,
Yeah, no, Lisa, you go.
to be involved as also Lisa going.
Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to say that I once again remembered the importance of trying clearly understanding of what you're trying to solve and not to try solve everything at once, because when you try to focus on a lot of different problems at the same time in a short period of time, it creates a little bit unclear atmosphere. Like you might lose focus.
Exactly, Lisa. Focus is super important. And for focus, it's the ability to say no. And that's, again, something Mohit was saying, right? So the ability to say no matters. Yeah, who's going next?
So today's Meta SD, I felt like it is easy to spot issues, and sure, that is important, but something else that is also important is trying to come up with ways to make the idea work. So, for example, our own team could think of the way that the pitch that the team is giving. How can you make it work?
Awesome, Yosha. Edward Devono will be super happy with what you just said. Why I'll put a message on DT Learners group and you guys could see that. Yeah, who's going next?
May I just quickly add something while someone comes up with reflection?
Sure.
I just wanted to appreciate Yosha and our team today because it probably was the greatest Meta SD that I ever had. Just wanted to appreciate you guys for that.
Yeah, thank you. Who's going next? One sentence. Who's going next?
most of the problem was solved if every company do this Socratic dialogue manner. They get a lot of variety of questions in their company.
Awesome. Prakash, who's going next?
I'll go.
Yeah, so I think it is really important to like stick with the values that we have defined with our like in our brand positioning. So in that case, like we can define the values that we really stick to in case of, and that will be like make ourselves in like unique in the mind of customers in some sense. So that I have learned.
Thank you, Satyam. Who's going next?
So from today's ST, I came to understand that identifying those unique positioning is itself very difficult task. A lot of things are to be considered. And once we're able to find what differentiates us, I think our strategy revolves around it. So based on our strategies revolves around it, strengthening those positioning factors. So that's what I learned.
Thank you. Nora, who's going next?
Actually, I want to add a bit on the
Yeah,
reflection
sure.
that how the brand positioning, like, so for us, the availability was the brand positioning. So how we changed everything for like the affordability and everything was on the availability. And when the effortlessness was there, they they had to change that customization point because of that brand positioning. So this is the power of brand positioning. The when they had to when Mohit had to say that please just say no to that customization because this is not aligning with the brand positions. So that was great.
So I guess you all would understand why this topic was being taught to everyone, irrespective of what people are, which role people are working, right? Yeah. Thank you, Hinglaj. Who's going in next?
I would like to go next.
Yeah, Ronaldo, please go.
So if your brand is go to loss and if you are not able to maintain your position with the competitor, just do a Socratic dialogue. Am I right?
Yeah, Ronaldo, go ahead.
I think Socratic dialogue is about like combining brainstorming, critical thinking, and reasoning into one. That is the Socratic dialogue, I think.
Awesome. So we're now having a Socratic dialogue on what a Socratic dialogue is. Amazing. Yeah. Thank you for the beautiful articulation, Ronaldo. Who's going next?
Yeah.
I think
So after today's Socrative dialogue, I my mind perspective is changed. This is a method. This is like a fun method to solve any problems with discussion, like others' mind, other know about the others' mind perspective and many more. So thanks.
Awesome. Manish, who's going next?
yes, I go next. I think before this SD had a perspective of brand positioning in the way of how our features are different, how the quality is different, how we are differentiating with the competitors. But after listening this, we are more thinking about the user centric. We are addressing user problems with our values and the brand positioning, I think.
Exactly. So, Jen, positioning is not just about selling. Positioning is actually about strategy. Positioning is a Guruji who's going to tell you what to do, what not to do, right? As
yes.
Hinglet said, right? They have to go back and change their product after seeing the positioning carefully. Yeah. Thank you, Jen. Who's going next?
Can I go?
Yeah, Divyansh, please go ahead.
Yeah, so we have like while doing the brand positioning, we have to define that scope of brand positioning also because when I was seeing that dialogue, so effortless formal, just uh, define that effortless for their like category only, not for their customers. Like they can build an e-commerce site, can be data driven, but they were not. So like we have to define that scope also while defining the brand positioning.
Yeah, thank you, Divyansh. Who's going next?
When that question was asked, actually, so it was phrased something like, okay, all that is going to take a lot of effort, right? So why is it called effortless? And we were laughing in our room. It was such a good question.
To make it effortless for the others, you have to put a lot of effort, right? So yeah, the boundaries have to be defined of where you put that effort. Yeah. Who's going next?
Yeah, I would like to go next.
Yes, Shubhadeep, please go ahead.
What I understood from the discussions and the LTIs and also the SD that tunnel vision, I mean, sorry, a brand positioning of any brand should have a tunnel vision of any parameter which they are holding on to, and that has to be very for a long period of time. They can't just hop in on different aspects and they can't think that I'll conquer this aspect also, I'll conquer this aspect also, I'll conquer this. That won't be possible for any brand, at least not for not within a long period of time.
Absolutely, Shubhadeep. I think I see a lot of maturity in that, reflection, and that's exactly why all of us better learn positioning so that our actions are coherent with the brand's positioning, right? Whichever brand you guys are working for right now. Yeah. Who's going next?
Yeah, I can go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Socratic dialogues are a great way to learn a concept, right? Because and especially when you are on the hot seat, right? Whether in any form, whether in the form of co-mod as a coach or actually a participant, right? I think it's the fastest way to learn a concept, right? Because when you're on that hot seat, right, there is a pressure of speaking something, right? Answering something, right? If you answer it right, well, right, you learn something. If you answer it wrong, then also you are going to learn something, right? So that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Thank you, Mohit. Who's going next?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, Ashok, please go ahead.
Yeah, in technical dialogue, they were just talking about one question, that how they can trust the data collection of the other company. Yeah, so my basic answer would be that it's not the always the data that helps you make the decision. it, it's it is you who always takes the database decision. So if something goes right wrong, then you are accountable.
Okay. Thank you, Ashok. That's a very good perspective. Yeah. Who's going next?
Yeah, I would like to say, through today's Meta SD, I understood that whatever your brand positioning is, there will be people who will question you. You just need to stick to the principles, your brand positioning, and you need to be broad-minded also. So to work efficiently. So that is what I understood.
Yeah. Thank you, Danas. Who's going next?
I'll go.
Yeah, Dipti.
I see every Socratic dialogue as an opportunity to solve a problem I'm passionate about. And in the process, I get to learn something new. So that's why I love Socratic dialogues.
Thank you, Dipti. Who's going next?
I will go. For like Socratic dialogues are always like a brainstorming session. Like you always think that, yeah, I know about this thing, but when where your thinking start or ends, the other someone's thinking starts. Like the question, like the reflection of Mohit, like I even didn't think 1% about it. Like the no can help you to put the branding position. So that was my reflection, and even the how you put your stories across, like the urban areas, like the stories in the urban area or the brand position will be same, but how you convey people can be different for different areas and how you can research about it.
Okay. I think in the chat, Mohit is a very interesting comment. Like, what is a formal t-shirt was the question, and Mohit was like, let's leave it to imagination. Okay. Thank you, Anaya, for the reflection. Who's going next? Anyone else wants to add something?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, I would like to go in next.
Sure, please go ahead, Shawan.
If when everybody is talking about like brand positioning, right? Actually, I said something like, did you hear?
Yes, you're audible, Shawan. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like as of now, right, everyone's talking about brand positioning, right? So I would like to connect it with the design thinking, right? So like last Saturday, we discussed about design thinking, like which focused on like how do we keep the users at the center, right, and take decisions, right? And again, today we are talking about brand positioning, where we are thinking of what's that unique thing that we're running for, right? So I think like this concept actually help us in better decision making, right? And like again, if you see, if I'm running after a word, right, what's the unique thing that I'm building, right? Then again, while building it, I can think of design thinking in that, right? So I think these all concepts actually has help us to take decision, and also like can help like going forward in the right path, right?
Absolutely, Shravan. And next Saturday again, you'll come back and say, okay, I'm connecting it with design thinking and positioning.
Am I audible?
I'm saying next Saturday you'll come back and say I'm connecting it to brand positioning and design thinking.
But it really makes sense, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All these are various parameters that you keep in mind while
Exactly.
making
Yeah. Like this actually helps us in drawing that boundary, right? How do you want to take things ahead?
to go on to the right side.
Yes, right.
Vice President, CXO level thinking. Yeah. Anyone else wants to go in?
Can I go?
Yes.
Like a brand position is like the basic idea behind the brand positioning is not creating something completely new or different, but put your idea or like your thoughts into the customer's minds.
Absolutely. What is the perception you're creating in the customer's mind? Yeah. Who's going next? Anyone?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Purva, go ahead.
Through SD, we can understand that in its most practical terms. Like before this, we have discussed brand positioning, but after SD, we get like infinite number of strategies and solutions and challenges that we can face. So it gives a much better perspective about any topic. And for brand positioning, I was really excited by the statement that it is what we should know what was that we should understand it what it is not rather than understanding what it is. So that was the best statement that I heard.
Yeah. Thank you, Apurva. Anyone else going in?
I think as Shavan said, he mentioned right how design thinking and brand positioning, without knowing the users what they want, how we can build a brand with different qualities and different features which are differentiating with our competitors. This user-centric approach is coming here to make the brand.
Okay. Thank you, Jayant. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just want to add one little point. So, you know, a while back, I think Tarun, you only mentioned that, you know, even if you are a CTO, let's say a chief technical officer, you would also want to have basic fundamental understanding of finance or have business acumen, right? At that time, I didn't really understand like why. I mean, your domain is technology, right? But I think what Shravan said, right, it answers my question, because all these things are related, right? With every Socratic dialogue, we see how design thinking is related to brand positioning and how it is related to the other things. So even if your domain is technology, you would want a fundamental understanding of all the other things because they kind of affect each other. So,
and it all comes down to decision making. Because the difference between a CTO and a developer is the CTO can engage in decision making of all levels.
To make strategies.
Not just strategies, it's also about execution, right? You made a strategy. How do you go execute your strategy? You take decisions to execute your strategy. Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining in. And in case anyone is interested, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I'm going to have a discussion on philosophy of education. Those who are interested can join in to discuss philosophy of education tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. It's an optional session. Good night, everyone.
Good night.